All right, welcome into Big Hitters Only. Big show. UNC defeats Virginia in Charlottesville in JPJ, 85-80, down 9.5 for a massive comeback win. Just a fun game to watch in a game we feel like UNC hasn't won in a while. First, new promo code. BHO20 got compromised. New promo code for Rowback. Check the sweatshirt out. Big Hitters 20. BIGHITTERS. Big Hitters 20. Get 20% off your order at Rowback. All right, we got Spenser Dalton, former UNC walk-on, and we got David Allen, former DTH superstar. God, awesome game. I mean, people were ripping on Hubert in the first half. Seemed like the same issues. Virginia was hitting threes, getting rebounds, just kind of feel like they had control of the game. UNC closed with 2 made threes to make it a single-digit game at half, and then just kind of chipped away, took the lead, hit some big shots, missed the front end of some 1-and-1s, free throws down the stretch, finally got some rebounds, and came out with obviously one of their biggest wins of the season, a ranked win, a Q1 win, and kind of Hubert gets a chance to breathe. David, give me your initial takes on kind of what you just watched. We're recording at 2:25, about 10 minutes after the game ended on Saturday.
Yeah, we're still fresh. We're still feeling it. The low was low, down 15, 17, whatever it got up to. Those 2 threes at the end of the first half, like Spenser said in our text thread, were huge to get it back to 9. And the highs were highs. It felt like all season we've been waiting to find a 5-man lineup when things are not going our way that can score, can defend, can play in transition, and they pulled the strings to go with Dixon and Stevenson, who at one point combined for over 50% of our second half points. I think it ended up being a little under after the free throws at the end of the game, but they found a 5-man lineup that was working without Vasar, who was in foul trouble, who was having a rough game. And as always, the shots start falling, and the team feeds off of that on both ends. When the shots are falling, everything looks better on offense, and for some reason, it energizes the Tar Heels to play better on defense.
I'm gonna drop this stat. I'm gonna tweet it off too. Derek Dixon plus 22 for the game. Kyan Evans minus 17.
Oof,
that is wild for a game like this. Jaren Stevenson plus 19. I think if Kyan Evans keeps playing significant minutes and over Derek Dixon, which he got at one point, Derek Dixon got pulled out and Kyan Evans came in. Like, you have to go with Dixon. Not that he was like the story, but the offense looked great during that little run with those passes ahead. I think Stevenson in one, and it was Caleb Wilson with that great catch. That's a crazy stat there. It kind of shows you that everything looks a little bit better defensively maybe, but a lot better offensively with Dixon, who can hit shots, but also gives UNC a huge advantage in transition offense. Spenser, your initial takes, not exactly on what I said, but your takes on kind of this game, how it went in the first half versus how it went in the second half.
First half was the same story of the last few weeks. Not doing a good job boxing out and rebounding. Not getting out in transition, and not playing super sound defense. And those things flipped completely in the second half. And we felt like we were playing Carolina basketball, man. Plain and simple. Those are textbook. It's like textbook Carolina basketball wins. Like we had this afternoon. That was awesome. What a great game for the Tar Heels. And really, things were looking pretty dire there the past couple of weeks in terms of like morale from the fans. The body language the last couple of games has not been good for the Tar Heels. So today, to go on the road, John Paul Jones is an incredibly difficult place to win. I remember we played there my senior year and lost by double digits, if memory serves. And those fans are loud, they're mean, and so really, really proud of the guys today.
I agree. Like, morale-wise for fans, for this team, for Hubert's mental health, I mean, this is a huge win on the road. Yeah, like Spenser said, I have not covered a UNC win in Virginia. It's a tough place to play. They've been really good, obviously, the last 15 years. And then they're getting things going now with Ryan Odom. So this is a big road win, and I think it shows you what this team can be when things click, when they make a couple adjustments, if Virginia stopped hitting threes in the second half. Let me pull up their stats, home stats, second box. They only made 2 threes, 2 for 12. Was it UNC's defense? I don't know. They missed some open shots. Virginia missed some open threes. The first half, they hit 6 threes. They didn't really kill from 3 for the entire game. So who knows if it was UNC's adjustments or defense, but there were some clear defensive lapses by UNC in the first half that allowed Virginia to get that big lead. Yeah, here we go again, like Spenser said. But I just thought offensively things really clicked in the second half, and you had some heroes. Jaren Stevenson, player of the game by far. Visitor stats here, Jaren Stevenson, 17 points. Only played 4 minutes in the first half. Like, what are we doing? Let me make sure that's right.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
And it was 17. So 17 minutes in the game is his 3rd fewest of the season. So, I mean, and still, his career high as a Tar Heel in points scored. And Ross, to your point, when he's scoring on offense, it's obviously great. But what he can do defensively as a guy who can switch off of screens, that's what helps, I think, too. A lot of times he can box out, and obviously he can close out on shooters, which I think that plays a factor in UVA only hitting 2 threes in the second half.
All right, Stevenson's he hasn't been great all year. He's had some moments, but this is clearly his best game. It's not like Stevenson's been amazing, but Hubert, for some reason, did not play him. He put in Zayden High over Stevenson, and High missed the basket and then gave up an easy 2 and a wide open 3 and was pulled. Stevenson only played 4 minutes in the first half. In the second half, Stevenson played 17 minutes, 6 for 9 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, hit some big threes, 12 minutes total in the second half, and a 17 plus minus. This is what they need, someone like him, Powell, Evans, or Luka to step up. And I thought Luka looked pretty good, a lot better on offense. Dave, you see anything from him or some of the other guards that really stood out in this game?
Yeah, I think Luka is a better catch and shoot 3-point guy than he is a creator. I feel like he has dribbled the ball with his right hand 98% of his dribbles. He scares me when UVA is full court pressing and all of a sudden he's got to bring the ball up court. But I think as a guy in the corner, a guy coming off of screen shooting, I like him a lot more. And his threes in the first half helped stabilize UNC before it got really out of hand, before it got to like 20-plus points. But Ross, to your point about Stevenson, is this what we saw from him today is what we thought we were going to get from him all season. And so you have to hope that this Stevenson, the guy who can knock down a 3, but also in the second half you saw, post someone up, work him, see if he can draw a second man and then kick to an open shooter. Like, that's the part of Stevenson's game that, like, the Tar Heels have not fully unlocked, or maybe he has not fully unlocked this season, that I think could be huge for them down the stretch in the ACC.
Yeah, his threes were huge. Spenser, we got you?
Testing, 1, 2, test.
Spenser? Oh, you sound beautiful. We got Spenser back. We lost him for a bit.
Yes.
Welcome back, Spenser. So we talked a little bit about Jaren Stevenson and Luka. What do you think about what Stevenson added to the lineup in the second half? Only 4 minutes in the first, 12 minutes in the second, 17 points for the game.
So he did a lot of good things today. Defensively, he was very good. There were 1 or 2 times where he had really long closeouts to a 3-point shooter, and that guy didn't get a shot off because his length affected the guy getting an open look. So that was huge. Offensively, he was great because we were taking advantage of a mismatch. I mean, he is going to be a mismatch a lot of the time. He's 6'10". He can dribble. He can shoot. He can post up. And so, good on the coaching staff for identifying that, okay, we've got a mismatch for Stevenson. That mismatch was also there for Caleb Wilson a lot of the night. And so getting them the ball in that kind of mid-post, low-post kind of area for them to go one-on-one. I don't personally love going one-on-one all the time, but, I mean, when there's a mismatch, there's a mismatch, and you can't ignore it. So, we took advantage of that tonight, and Stevenson had a great individual performance in the second half.
Yeah, and it just clutch, too. I mean, he had a score, 6 of UNC's last, 10 or something like that. I mean, I don't know the exact numbers, but it just seemed like when they need him to Yeah.
He hit open threes
Yeah.
tonight. You know, he hasn't always hit them this season, and tonight he sure did, or this afternoon. I mean, the Heels shoot 45% from three on the game. Stevenson on the game was 2 for 4 from three. That's what you need from him. Ross, you said it multiple times on this podcast. Getting 2 threes from him per game is a huge, huge boost for our guys.
Yeah, I mean, this team, you know, hitting open threes is like the name of the game, I feel like, with college teams. I mean, it's probably the same in the NBA. Don't watch a lot of NBA, but like, you've got to hit open threes. The game is built around the 3-point game, so it's huge. Now, we talked about Luka a little bit too, Spencer. I thought Luka looked a lot better. 14 points. He made 3 of 5, so he hit his open threes. He had a big one down the stretch as well in the closing out run there. 4 for 7 from the field is a great percentage. Did miss the free throw there at the end, as did Seth Trimble, who missed the front end, the first shot of a 1-and-1. What about Luka? I mean, Luka's been like, you're like just waiting for him to have a big breakout game. And 14 points, dude, that's perfect. But he's still getting chances, which is great. Playing a little more in the flow of the offense. What about his game today? Did he maybe do right, or that stood out to you?
Well, for one, he hit his very first shot of the game. From a mental perspective, a guy like him who wants to shoot the ball, hitting that first one right off the bat, because he hit it pretty early too, in the first 3-4 minutes of the game, I want to say. Like, that just, you get started off on the right foot. You don't feel like you have to force it. You feel confident putting that next one up. It's just a huge boost mentally to hit a shot early in the game. And I felt like he took good care of the ball tonight. There were a couple of times where he came off the ball screen, like just made a nice little low sweep, 1 or 2 dribbles into the middle. He had a great little floater there in the second half off a ball screen. So he just played with confidence tonight. And I think that's the thing about him. Night in, night out, he either looks shaky or he looks in control. And tonight, he was in control. And I think it's just coming out and hitting one early, gets that confidence going, and he's able to take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, he looks smooth, and like, you know, he's a little limited with his athleticism, but you know, he does play like that controlled European style. And yeah, when you hit shots, everything's gonna look a little better. You know, going 3 for 5, a lot better than going 1 for 5. I want to point this out. Kyan Evans, 0 points. I did not even realize that. 0 points for Kyan Evans. Obviously didn't play as much as he usually does. Am I seeing this?
Evans, Powell, and Young.
What'd you say, David?
Evans, Powell, and Young all blanked. 0 for 6 from the field, 0 of 5 from 3. And you know, with I think I texted this to you guys, but Powell ended up having 7 rebounds, led the team in rebounds, which is kind of wild. But like, they did not shoot well today, which means you needed someone to, which makes the Bogovats threes even more important. You needed one of those guys to have something going from the outside.
UNC shot huge, 10 for 22 from 3.
So UVA was the second best 3-point shooting team in the league. UVA is the second best 3-point shooting team in the league, and tonight they shot 30% from 3. They just didn't hit as many as they normally do, and you know, for one reason or another, it was some good defense here and there. It was them missing some open ones for sure, and the defensive rebounding for Carolina was much better in the second half, so they didn't get as many second chance points, and they hurt us pretty bad in the first half. I mean, there were multiple possessions in the first half where they got multiple offensive rebounds, and so just not letting get the second chance looks was a huge help tonight.
So I just made a last thing on Kyan. I didn't realize, dude, minus 17 in 7 minutes. Like, that's
tough
hard
to do, man.
Yeah. Like, I don't know how I think you have to bench him. Like, play Powell more. I mean, Jaden Young's getting the start. I mean, he gets to start, scores 0 points in 7 minutes. Like, if you're not going to play, if you're going to start him, like, why are you only playing Jaden Young 7 minutes? Like, don't even start him then. It makes no sense. But Derek Dixon is the guy. Let's go on this. Like, I think it's coaching malpractice if Derek Dixon's not getting 25 minutes a game and leading this team. Like, this should have happened in December after the Kentucky game. You got to pick a point guard who you think is going to give you the best chance to win, and then get him comfortable running the team in some of these slop games in December and November, And we've waited too long now, and Kyan Evans just is not it. He doesn't bring enough on defense to make his missed threes and missed open threes. It's not worth it. Like, he doesn't bring anything. If he's not going to hit threes or score in the mid-range like he did at Colorado State, why is he playing? Because he's not like a value add on defense. He's small, he's undersized, he's quick, but he's not teams are like probably seeing him on tape, and a big guard's going to abuse him. And we've seen that happen. It's not like he's some great screen defender or something. Dixon's not some defensive wizard, but at least he's bigger, and he's going to get more rebounds. He's going to, his passing was locked in this game. Spencer, what do you think, David, about what UNC's got to do moving forward at point guard? I mean, at some point, Hubert has to be like, all right, $2 million on Kyan is sunk cost. We're not getting it back. But to save your job and save the season, it's got to be Dixon.
You got to
someone just jump in.
Okay, a couple things is Ross, I hear you, but I also think the decision has been made because the last 3 games, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 7 minutes for Evans.
Yeah.
Somebody has to come in and play point guard when Dixon's out, and right now it's Evans. So the question is like, against Notre Dame, he's 3 of 5 from 3, and you're like, oh, well, I don't mind those 10 minutes when he's out there. It's kind of like you throw him out there to run back up point, and if he hits a couple threes, he stays in. If not, what I'm seeing though from Dixon is today against UVA, UNC turned the ball over 4 times, season low.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about playing teams like, respectfully to, Central Arkansas and Radford and East Tennessee State, but like we're talking about a good UVA team, a good defensive team, 4 turnovers. And everything feels a little bit more controlled with Dixon playing point. And the question is, to your point, Ross, is when he's out of the game, is it going to be Evans at point, or do you want to get kind of interesting and let, which I don't think is a bad idea, Seth run a little bit more of a traditional point? Like, what is the answer there in those other 10 to 12 minutes a game? Because I do think, just judging off of minutes played, I do think we have seen the last time this season that Kyan Evans is playing 25 minutes a game. It does feel like that time is over. So that would be my take.
Spencer, you got anything?
I gotta agree. Dixon is just much more comfortable. He's just more comfortable running the one. He's more effective in the ball screen situation. He's strong with the ball coming up the court. I mean, there were a couple times where he had a defender right up in him for 94 feet, and he just controlled the pace, controlled his dribble up the court, didn't give up, a crappy steal at midcourt or anything like that. He's a good shooter as well. Like, he can hit it spot up and off the dribble. He did both tonight, which is great. So, I just think he's much more effective at the one. Just runs that position as it should be run compared to Kyan Evans.
You shouldn't be, coaching the game looking ahead to next season or the season after that. But Derek, you have potential of Derek Dixon being your point guard for the next 3 years if you want him to be, or at least next year. Like, he can be. I don't think he's an NBA. He's not going to be an NBA first round pick. So you do have the opportunity here for kind of like a Marcus Page, Kendall Marshall type, point guard continuity for a while here, and that's awesome. And I think the size is impressive as well. Caleb Wilson, I was talking to a lot of people during the season, and I feel like I'm getting hit from texts from every UNC fan or alum nonstop, especially when they're losing. What the fuck we doing, Hubert? It's like, all right, I get it. Caleb Wilson's got to touch the ball like on every possession. You saw that on that last basket. They went to him off the screen. He drove. He's just so much more athletic, and he put that ball right off the backboard for the easy 2. They went to him, and it worked out. You got to go to him way more. Like, you want him taking, I heard some podcasts, him taking 20 shots a game. Like, you want him shooting 12 to 15 shots a game. It's going to end up better than worse. So, and they know that, but like, it's got to be forced. Like, and run action for him as well. I just think he's so special, and I would hate for us to look at hindsight as wasting him. I don't think UNC's wasting him. I think he's having an unbelievable season, but I just love what he's doing. Rebounding, though, the boxing out from Caleb and Vasar really pissed me off this game. I thought on defense, they were just doing a horrible job of like clearing space, and you had more physical, white players for Virginia, just like getting these rebounds. And the DeRitter guy is really, really good. But the rebounding has to be fixed. And that's just fundamentals and desire. And just like, dude, clear your guy out and let someone else get the rebound. That's how Powell got so many rebounds in the second half. It felt like they were coaching a little bit more boxing out, and Powell was able to jump in there at 6'6" and get more rebounds. I don't know if there's anything to add on that, Spencer or David, but the rebounding, like, it's some of this stuff with the Hubert coaching, fundamentals, like day one shit they're not doing right on defense and rebounding.
Yeah, I don't want to take us too far away on the rebounds. But my thing I wanted to say quickly on Wilson is, I tweeted this out. His 58.4% field goal percentage with 12 field goal attempts per game. The only people in college basketball who are averaging that number are Huff from Gonzaga and Boozer from Duke. And in the NBA, it's Giannis and Nikola Jokic. Those are the only two guys with the volume that he's shooting at that percentage. So you're telling me, I went back and rewatched the first 6 minutes. There were 4 different screen and rolls with Young and Vasar. And I'm like it's kind of like the first drive in an NFL game when you're like, oh my gosh, Sean McVay had the perfect first drive planned up before the game. How is it coming out of the tip? You're running multiple screen and rolls with Young and Vasar, and Caleb Wilson's not involved. And then Spencer, I want to hear what you think about rebounding, and I got one more thing on Wilson I want to make sure we hit later, but
yeah, the rebounding thing is very frustrating for me as well, Ross. And rebounding is two things alone. It is wanting it and putting a body on somebody. And there were multiple times tonight where Caleb Wilson does not look where his man is, and then just kind of goes for the ball. And that's just not enough in the game. Like in high school, it's enough. When you're Caleb Wilson, you're 6'10", maybe 2 or 3 times in an entire season, you're guarding a guy who's like almost on your level. That happens every single night in this day and age in college basketball. He's playing somebody who is close to his level, And so it's very simple. You see man and ball on defense. You see the shot go up. You turn and you find your man. You put your hand on his chest, and then you turn around and move him out of there with your butt. It's very, very simple. And then you go jump for the rebound. And he doesn't do either of those things. He just jumps for it. He doesn't find his man. He doesn't put a body on him. And Vasar doesn't do a great job of that either, unfortunately.
Yeah.
He's in the scrum a lot, and he's always seems to be real close to the basket on defense. But like he relies more on length to get rebounds. He doesn't do a good job of like kind of getting low and using his backside to move a guy out. I mean, you're not going to get called for a foul. I mean, unless you elbow a guy, or you really just lay him to the deck. Like it's incredibly difficult to be too physical boxing out. And, I wish that we do more of that. It's like, dude, literally just turn around, find your man, and then push him out of the way. Like it's very simple. We just don't do a good job of that.
Love it. I love it. 3 minutes of Spenser Dalton on rebounding. Dude,
yeah.
A team with Caleb Wilson and Henry Vasar and Seth Trimble, who's like one of the best rebounding guards for his size, they should not be out-rebounded. Virginia out-rebounded UNC 44-28. That's embarrassing. And like Roy Williams teams, they were just known always. They would out-rebound the competition. And I think I've heard this. Rebounding is like the most consistent stat that equals winning. Like whoever wins the rebounding advantage usually wins the game. Obviously not the case tonight. Offensive rebounds 16-8, and man, there were I think about 2 or 3 frustrating possessions where UNC could not control the defensive rebound, and Virginia got 2 shots, 3 shots, 4 shots, and eventually scored. And I do think it's almost like UNC kind of won despite themselves. They made enough plays to win, but they did so many things that if they had lost this game, you'd be completely ripping a bunch of things. They're going to keep showing up and practice, boxing out. You're right, Spencer. You learn that stuff at age 8. I'm going to watch my niece play basketball here in an hour. It's going to be horrible. I think I've scored 2 points all season. She's 10 years old. I swear they're going to probably teach some boxing out. I'm hoping to yell at some refs here too. I'm getting pumped to play the uncle move at these recreational basketball games. Anyway, like it's I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about, Spencer. Like they teach those fundamentals on you get your ass on someone's groin area, pause, and like get them out of the play, and then you get the rebound or someone else does. Anyway, all right. I'm not coming really hot here. This is a whole mess of audio. What else we got? Good. I mean, these games you love. I mean, how much you love this on a Saturday afternoon? It's dark outside. It's freezing. You're just watching ACC hoops. Let's look at the schedule. What we got next here? We have the week off again. Another week off. Georgia Tech next Saturday. Syracuse on a Monday. So you have the 2 games in 3 days, and then Duke. What do y'all think, man? There's a side of fans that want Hubert out after the Cal and Stanford and SMU losses. And then games like this kind of bring you back in. I think UNC is super talented and could win a lot of games. Losing to Stanford and Cal is such a rough look. David, like, where do you stand right now with this team, this coaching staff, and this program?
Excited to see what February brings with this team. If they can keep going in this direction, I think it would have been easy to slide. And I know these two things are unrelated, but I think all the talk right now about the Smith Center and the future of college basketball at UNC, with UNC losing recently, has just made for some really bad vibes around the program. So this felt like an even more important win, even though I know it has no connection to what happens with the stadium. But yeah, the only concern that I have going forward Corey Alexander brought this up, I think, today, and we'll give credit where credit's due, is I thought that Caleb looked gassed a few times today. And I know that Spencer thinks that's timeout related, and I think it definitely in part is. I think it's one of the reasons why he can be a bad rebounder at times is because he's probably gassed. And I wonder, that's my only concern going forward is, can we figure out a way for his 34 minutes to be a little bit of an easier 34 minutes on him so that you're getting the most effective version of a top 5 NBA pick next year. Like, when you have a guy like him, you got to make the best use of him down the stretch, make him the focal point of this offense, and use his talent as best you can. So that's something that I'm going to be looking at going forward, along with Dixon's continued development at point guard.
Yeah, I think it was good that UNC kind of won this game without Vesar having a Vesar performance. Vesar. 7 points, foul trouble, 1 rebound. Am I seeing that right? God damn. 1 rebound for your 7-footer? That's disgusting.
And the 1 rebound was a tip. Wilson almost had it and tipped it back to Vesar. It wasn't even really like a true, like, he went up and got it. Like, it got hit to him.
Dude, that is crazy. That's when Roy's like, Wanda got one, you got 1 more rebound than Wanda Williams.
Yep.
1 rebound for your 7-footer in 29 minutes. I mean, there were so many tipped around opportunities. Gosh, all right, no more rebounding talk. But they won despite Henry Vesar probably having his worst game in a Carolina uniform. And Vesar has been unbelievable. I mean, he's been worth every penny we are paying him. He's been so consistent. Spencer, how are you feeling now about this team? And kind of where we stand with this roster and with Hubert Davis in the program. And I do want to get into a little Smith Center talk at the end here.
Tonight shows what this team can be. I think we played pretty close to the potential. There's always room for improvement. Again, with the rebounding, the defense was much better in the second half. We can play transition game like we did in the second half. You put more transition into the first half, and maybe that half looks a lot different. So it's like, I think we saw what this team can be. They played a good game. I think the coaches did a good job tonight. So that's just what I want to see. We have these really, really down games that just simply cannot happen because the effort's not there, the strategy isn't there, the fundamentals aren't there. But then you play a game like tonight, and it's like, okay, well, we've got it in us. I think we talk a lot about, or people talk a lot about the players just not doing what they're coached to do. It's an effort thing. I've heard Joel Berry say some stuff. It's like, okay, it just comes down to, I'm not going to let my men score. I'm stepping up. We as a team are not letting XYZ happen to us. And I think They really took it upon themselves tonight and said, UVA is not going to beat us. And they stepped up. And so that's what I want to see. Again, that effort and that passion, those are two of the biggest things that Hubert Davis has preached during his head coaching tenure. He was the head JV coach when I was on the JV team. And if there was anything that he cared about, it was you have to give 100% effort all the time. And so we saw that much more tonight. And it really just shows in the outcome. So that's what I want to see for the rest of the game. Just the effort, man. It has to be there.
Yeah, I mean, credit to Hubert. The team definitely hasn't give up or anything. That's a tough road stretch.
Yes.
They should have lost to Wake and lost to SMU. You have guys that are looking at the NBA and looking for their next transfer destination. But I think team-wise, they have not, called and given up yet, which is they shouldn't have. I'll say this. This is the first year of Ryan Odom at Virginia. This is the 5th year of Hubert. It kind of shows you the impact of a really good coach. Of course, the 5th year of Hubert Davis at UNC should be killing a brand new coach like a Will Wade or a Ryan Odom. It's changed now with the transfer portal, but the standard has been so lowered for UNC where you're like, I hope we win. We're the 6.5 dog. UNC should only be an underdog to Duke and maybe on the road. This is not this season, but in general, over the last 20 years, they should always be the favorite, except maybe a road dog like at Louisville or a really good Virginia team or a really hot Clemson team be a 1 point. But UNC, the standard is top 5 team, chance to go to the Final Four, every 2 or 3 seasons, the number 1 or number 2 seed. That's the standard. It's just been lowered over the last couple of years of Roy and now under Hubert, where you're just, I hope we make the tournament. That's not how it should be. I'll end with that, but also I want to get 1 minute from everybody on the Smith Center situation. I hope to do a podcast midweek next week with maybe Brian Murphy or someone kind of locked into the whole politics of the Smith Center stuff. Big push by Roy Williams with his video. Big push by Tyler Hansberry and some tweets by other alums. I hope everyone's educating themselves on everything to do with the renovation of the Smith Center versus building at Carolina North versus the need for the hospital to expand versus the need to expand the university to Carolina North. It's a very complicated situation. So before people sound off on Twitter or just join some movement, there's just so many different elements in play with the Smith Center move versus renovation versus just a couple other things. I'll let David go first, 1 minute, then Spencer, and then I'll go, and then we'll close out the podcast.
Okay, Ross, you just said you referenced the standard for Carolina basketball. And I think the standard lies in Carolina's history. And again, I talked about this last year. This is where we are. It's the standard is the history. The standard is in the Smith Center. And is the standard for UNC the continued ability to evolve as a program. That's what it comes down to me. It's history versus evolution in the terms of this craziness that's happening in college athletics right now. And my number one fear is that this is going to get ugly. There's going to be mudslinging from both sides. I don't feel properly educated, and I feel like I've read 80% of the content out there. And I feel like both sides are saying, this is how much it's going to cost, and this is why you're wrong. And I hope that the powers that be on both sides can come together and figure something out. Because right now, the leadership from the university and the leadership from the alumni and the players are on 2 very different pages. And I just want it to get figured out and not turn ugly. All right. I don't want it to become a distraction.
Journalist in me, you got to give us your opinion. Where do you want it?
Of course I want it to stay. I don't know anybody who's oh yes, I'd love a brand new arena. Of course I want it to stay, but I also
Dino.
Absolutely, but I also don't know all of the the facts at hand. So that's
okay.
That's just me.
Spencer's he's a former player, so he's gonna feel strongly to support Coach Williams and all the alums.
Yeah, D-Ray, you bring up the emotional side to some extent. It's the history. I think history is tied to emotion, and so when you start talking about revenue generation, that is not an emotional aspect of our program. That is a black and white. That is a numbers aspect of it. And so I was lucky enough to be on the call where Chancellor
Ooh.
Roberts and Steve Newmark, the incoming AD, and Bubba Cunningham, as well as a couple other folks that were kind of more on the admin side, spoke with former players and former coaches about the plans. And so, I mean, I was starstruck. I mean, we got Larry Brown on there. We've got Bill Chambers. We've got Shamon Williams. We've got Tyler Hansbrough, Roy Williams. And many of those guys spoke from the heart about the way that they feel about this situation. And so, there's a lot of me that says if we turn our back on history and relocate the arena to this new section of campus, who are we then? Yeah, we can put jerseys in the rafters, and yeah, you can call it the Dean Smith Center, you can call it Roy Williams Court, but I think the aspect of being on campus is such a benefit. And yeah, it's down on the edge of campus, but it's a stone's throw from Hojo. It's a stone's throw from where the most of the players live, across the street in those apartments that are there next to the tennis courts and stuff. And so, I think it's really hard to turn your back on history. And so one thing that Steve Newmark said was that he was recently at a conference with a bunch of ADs and a bunch of people that were involved at the conference level and stuff, is that they couldn't hardly agree on anything other than revenue is the number one driving force in college athletics right now. And so I think, for better or worse, that is the position that the administration is taking, is that Carolina basketball, to stay relevant in this day and age of college athletics, has to generate revenue to keep the program at its level, to remain elite. You have to have revenue to pay players. You have to have revenue to maintain your facilities. You have to have revenue for all of these things. And so, they see the incremental revenue that from these studies that they've done as a pretty huge number. I think they said $30 million per year in incremental revenue by putting in a new arena. And if they deem that the value of that incremental revenue above and beyond what they currently get is of greater value than maintaining the historical home of Carolina basketball in the Smith Center and on campus, the existing campus, then that's their prerogative, I guess. They're the ones who are in charge. And so, but again, my opinion on it, to your question, Ross, I'd love to see it stay in the Smith Center. That's our home, man. It's the place to be.
Speaking of revenue, new promo code, Big Hitters 20 on Roback. Check all your Roback stuff, sweatshirts, joggers, tons of new stuff. Check out Roback. It helps us pay Garrett. I pay Garrett and Connor, every month or so, because we do, 4 or 5 pods a month. And the money we make from you buying Roback stuff with our promo code keeps this podcast afloat, because they're the ones putting the time. I mean, I keep some money for myself, but it's really to pay them. Big Hitters 20 at Roback. All right. So the Smith Center as a building, it sucks. Now, the players and coaches have a completely different experience than the common fan, like D-Ray and his wife, sitting halfway up the upper deck. I went to the game on Wednesday. It's just not a good viewer experience. The seats are fine, but it's way too big. Parking's not great. In and out's kind of not great. It's not super comfortable. The concourse, the bathrooms, it's not the best experience. I would love for it to be on campus. I mean, I think everyone would love for it to be on campus. I don't think that's the issue. If it was viable to be on campus, I would love for it to be in the middle of campus, south of campus. That's awesome. It's just you need a state-of-art facility with 30, 25 premium boxes, just like UVA has, that surround the court, that you can charge to all the different corporations and groups, and they give you, I don't even know what it'd be. Would it be, $50K a year for access to those boxes? That is where the revenue is coming from. You need 25 of those. Yeah, would it be $100K for a box? I mean, you're selling these to Wells Fargo, to Coca-Cola, to all the biggest banks and law firms in North Carolina. Think about all these Charlotte corporations that would buy a box to get their clients and their construction. For my brother would be in that group to buy a box to have access, or buy part of a box, and you get so much revenue off of alcohol sales from that. Plus, you build a facility that has maybe 10 rows of seating around the court for students. That's huge. I think everybody wants more students to sit close to court. You get those around the court on the sides and maybe one of the ends, and you sell. And then you put the rich fans right above them. So they're very close still, like at Duke. They're very close. You sell the rich tickets around there. You need a brand new facility that has all the features you need. New bathrooms, new boxes, locker rooms, coaches, offices, all that stuff. If they can figure out a way to do that that's cheaper than building a whole new facility at Carolina North, I'm all for that. I've heard Odom Village being thrown out now. You build a new facility on Odom Village, which is, kind of adjacent to where the Smith Center is now. It's still super far from main campus in Franklin Street. Like, I don't know why, we've all lived on campus. Like, to get from Franklin Street to the Smith Center, what's that, 20 minutes? 15 minutes if you're me, 25 minutes if you're David.
Sure.
I mapped it when I was in Chapel Hill. Carolina North is 1.4 miles from like that intersection, Estes and MLK, to Franklin Street, the top of the hill is 1.4 miles. There's tons of housing out there. There's tons of, off-campus housing. They're going to build dorms down there as well on Carolina North. So they're building, the university's moving that direction in general. They're building a whole research, classrooms, facilities, dorms, apartments down there as well. So I lean towards building a brand new facility, whether that's on where the Smith Center is now, Odom Village, Carolina North. I want a new building because I think renovating it, I just think you're pushing the problem down the road. You need a new roof. You need these boxes. It's hard to renovate a building like that. And I do want reduced capacity. I want 16K. This place is never sold out. There's rarely 16K in there now except for Duke and State games. So that's where I stand. I want to get in. We'll get into it with someone else in midweek. Maybe bring Spenser back on. I didn't know he was on that call. Maybe bring Hansborough on. But I think it's a very interesting discussion, and the revenue you would get from all the different benefits of a new facility with bars. You could also sell that land. Like you're leasing out that land to bars and restaurants and other apartment complexes that would benefit from the arena building there. You can also bring in concerts, bands, shows. I think they would be more likely to make revenue off that because there's not anything else in the Smith Center than like camps, right? So that's where I stand. Any rebuttal quickly? Anything?
No, just this, Ross. That is all perfectly logical, and it all makes perfect sense. But to me, the thing is, and it's purely emotional, as Spenser said, is right now you can walk into the Smith Center and you can say, Tyler Hansborough did that there. And Antoine Jameson was there when that happened. And you can look up in the rafters and you can see the names and numbers. And you can hang on to the history while everything else is changing. And if you go into a new building and the one and dones continue and the transfer portal continues, it's going to feel like a collection of players that have no connection to the rest of UNC basketball history, have no connection to the university. And that's why people are and I'm including myself, hanging on for dear life for some semblance of that connective tissue. So,
yeah, I mean,
and logic doesn't mean anything. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes you got to move on from some traditions. Look, I mean, they moved from Carmichael to the Smith Center. Like, that happened. You know? Yeah. There's a lot of different elements in it, too, and the money complicates it all. All right, guys, we really appreciate your time. Spenser, David, that was an awesome pod. It's always fun when the Tar Heels win a big game. And we'll check you out next time. I'm probably going to take a break. Well, there's no game this week, but we'll get you another one hopefully this week and then a reaction pod after one of the next games. Maybe going to the Duke game. So, Spenser, David, really appreciate your time, and thanks for listening to Big Hitters Only.